All right, let's get into the player ratings then. And we'll start with Vicario. We both gave him a 7. Bournemouth had a lot of attempts, but not many on target, I don't think, in general. I can remember one save from a Solanke header, which from a corner. Apart from that, he had a good game overall dealing with set pieces, but wasn't actually truly tested that much due to maybe some poor finishing from Bournemouth.
Yeah, I just given him a 7. I didn't think he put a foot wrong, basically. The save that you're talking about was a kind of back stick header from the corner, from the in-swinging corner. And I would actually say he could have caught that. But
you reckon?
Yeah, he could have caught it. But I get why he didn't, because if he tries to catch it and it drops down, then it's a goal. So what he's gone for is the kind of palm out, try and get as much distance on it as can. And we are fortunate that it fell at the feet of one of our defenders. But still, you've got to make the save. You've got to be in the right position to make the save. And the rest of it, yeah, didn't put a foot wrong. And it just goes to show, once again, I'll say it again, how good it is to just have a keeper where you know he's just going to make the right decisions 99.9% of the time. And, on a day where we said goodbye to one of our best ever goalkeepers, a club legend, it's been amazing how the transition from one to the other has gone. And also, we should give some credit to Hugo Lloris for that. Never threw his toys out the pram, trained with him, and said in his statement about Hugo Lloris that it was great for Vicario to be in the changing room and sharing a kind of training ground with Hugo Lloris. So he's clearly helped him in the transition. And, I love Vicario. I think we've done very well.
I absolutely agree. Next up is the right back, Pedro Porro. We both gave him a 7. I did think Sinisterra, especially in that first half, was actually giving him quite a tough ride on that side. I did think he struggled to kind of put a challenge in, albeit he didn't really get absolutely roasted at any point. But I did think Sinisterra was giving a bit of trouble. I think on the ball, it wasn't just him, but we were struggling to really break Bournemouth's press, and he wasn't really able to find any of the front three. However, I did think he ended the game really strongly, and I thought in those last 20 minutes, he found this second win, this new confidence. He was taking people on, and I actually think in those last 20 minutes he finished the game really, really strongly. So I gave him a 7.
Yeah, and that last 20 minutes coincided with what we discussed earlier about Bournemouth really dropping off and not being able to keep up the kind of intensity that they had in the first 60 or 65 minutes. One thing I'd say about Porro, and this is why I've given him a 7, is he doesn't get a lot of help from Brennan Johnson. He's quite often doubled up against. Brennan, I feel like he's learning a bit on the defensive side, but he makes so many endless kind of forward runs that he's not really got the legs to always be back in time. And Bournemouth were very quick. When they'd won the ball back, they were very quick on the transition. So I'm not blaming Johnson. I'm just saying that Porro yesterday, I felt like did a lot of kind of having to backtrack against two people coming at him and make decisions as to go with the outside or where the ball was. So I've given him a 7. I didn't think he was outstanding, but I don't think he really put much of a foot wrong, and that's why I gave him that.
All right, Emerson Royale. I gave him an 8. Barnaby gives him a 7. I thought he had a pretty decent performance, actually, considering how poor he was on Thursday night as well. Obviously, he played a major role in our third goal with a beautiful clipped pass out to Brennan Johnson, which obviously set us on the way to scoring that one. Obviously, had a really nice effort in the first half as well from 25 yards. Very un-Emerson, which forced a good save out of the goalkeeper. I did think in general he defended fairly well, albeit Solanke did get quite a bit of joy aerially out of our both our centre-backs. But I actually thought it was an improvement by Emerson, so I gave him an 8.
Well, I didn't think Emerson was as bad in the previous game as you did, and therefore I didn't feel he was so much better this time as you did. So I've gone for a 7, haven't I, with Emerson Royale? The reason I've gone for a 7 is when he had the ball, especially in the first half, I just felt very uncomfortable a lot of the time. But yes, he did fine, and he played a beautiful ball down the line to Johnson, which ended up in the goal, didn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
So that was worthy of a plus point for me as well. I think he did absolutely fine, and most importantly, as I've said before, always gives 100%, tries to do his best. Clearly a great team player, good for the motivation and the morale of the team as well, because he seems like a kind of slightly insane madman. I love that about him. And he's great. He's a great squad player in terms of the morale especially. But I'm hopeful. I said it in the watch along yesterday. I'm hopeful that yesterday was the last game we'll see him play at centre back for Spurs.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Albeit as well, you made a good point when we were talking the review. He didn't really cover himself in much glory with the goal we conceded as well. He wasn't great for that.
He rushed out of position, and it's one of those things. Like, I tend to play centre back when I play football these days, and sometimes you are like attracted by the ball, and you have to sometimes tell yourself, no, don't try and be the hero here. Just let that person go and take that ball in that area, because it's more important that I'm here for the seconds. And he wasn't. And that's why Alex Scott was, he had, 10 yards around him, really. Still a good finish, but yeah, I agree. So that's why I didn't give him an 8.
All right, his partner, Ben Davis, I gave him an 8. Barnaby gives him a 9. I thought a really strong showing from Ben Davis on this occasion. Really great playing out the back. I thought there was that one moment in the second half as well. He just marauded down that left-hand side, and Destiny Udogie style, he was just gliding past people and earned a free kick in a real crucial moment for us. Obviously made a really crucial block from a Solanke shot, which got tipped onto the bar. I thought, again, he's been pretty consistent, to be fair to him, ever since he's come to the side at centre-back, and I thought yesterday was another strong performance added to the list.
Absolutely. I actually feel very strongly that he was worthy of a 9 yesterday. You mentioned already the break down the line, which is brilliant. His passing was kind of surprisingly good at times. He if you compare him to Royale in terms of his passing from the back, he just puts more zip on it. He's more confident with it, and that's, that makes sense. Royale's that's not part of his game, fine. But very good that he has the bravery to pass it in between the lines, more dangerous areas, kind of brave passing. And yeah, that breakdown. And then, as ever, just gets his body on the line, puts his body on the line, gets his body in front of difficult shots and chances. And, without Ben Davis yesterday, I don't think we'd have won that game nearly as comfortably in the end in terms of the scoreline. So worthy of a 9 for me. Gentle Ben, keep him at the club for as long as possible. Sign him up.
There we go. Left back, Destiny Udogie. We both gave him a 9 for this one. I thought where his great work was really important was defensively, because there was a few occasions, must have been 3 or 4 occasions, where Bournemouth were actually getting in behind. They got the better of Davis or Emerson, and then Udogie just was there, coming out of nowhere to mop up, making sure they don't get a good quality chance. There was a few occasions Solanke was in over the top. They played some really good passes into him, and Udogie was just there sweeping up, and he did that on multiple occasions. And I think a lot of it was down to him, why Bournemouth were restricted to not the good quality chances they could have had, because they'd made some really good passes in behind, some really good chances. But Udogie was just there time and time again, wasn't he, to stop Bournemouth in their tracks and make sure that no good chance came of those opportunities. And also, I think going forward, as we've seen, he always has his late charge in the 90th minute. He seemed to have another one on this occasion, and I think from an offensive point of view, did seem to grow into the game later on, but I thought a lot of his amazing work was defensively on this one.
Yeah, I think it was 3 times in the first half, in fact, that he really covered us and saved us. It was incredible. Actually, he was borderline getting a 10 from me, Destiny Udogie, yesterday. I thought he was unbelievable. The only reason I haven't given him a 10 is because I think maybe to get a 10, maybe you need to get a goal. You know what I mean? Like, I need to give people 10s. There needs to be something on top, like the cherry on top as well. But his performance was unbelievable. I was so scared when he went down with cramp. You wouldn't believe. I was so excited when I found out it was just cramp. Because if we lost him for a long time, we would really struggle. He is absolutely, for me, one of the most important, if not the most important cog in this wheel, because he offers us so much going back and forward. We don't have any other options, certainly not fit at the moment to do that. So a 9 for me for Udogie, but could have been a 10.
Yeah, absolutely exceptional from Destiny. Next up, a surprise return for Rodrigo Bentancur. I gave him a 7. Barnaby gives him an 8. Obviously, only lasted an hour on this occasion. Was a surprise inclusion in the starting 11. I thought he started the game really well, and it was so great to see him back on the pitch. And I thought, obviously, his challenge from Neto's loose pass led to the first goal. I did think he started to look a bit rusty. He did seem to tire quite quickly, and I thought on the hour, as Bournemouth was starting to take control, or had control of that midfield, I should say, he was probably rightfully taken off. He didn't look 100% when he did get taken off, but I think in general it was a really good return, and I think the minutes will do him good.
I think I gave him a 7. I would have given him a 7, but then just A, for being there, B, for playing well. But I gave him an 8 because of that interception that led to the goal. Vital bit of kind of reading the game. and really important. And I think realistically, Ange would have agreed with him before the game, you're not getting longer than 60 minutes. And I thought he was kind of blowing after about 10 minutes, which makes sense. He hasn't played much football. But he put it in there. He put a shifter in, and I give him an 8 on the basis that he also was responsible for the goal, really.
Yeah, 100%. Really great to have him back. Next up, Papa Matasar. We both gave him 8. Only played half an hour, but a brilliant half an hour it was. He was probably our best player in that opening bit of the game. Obviously got the goal with a brilliant finish on the edge of the area. And I just thought he was absolutely everywhere. And what I really love about Sarr is when he has that confidence to take a touch inside and just breeze past the player, attack the space. When he sees the space, like the difference between someone like him or a Skip or Højbjerg, I feel like when Sarr sees that little bit of space in front of a play, he's not scared to just drive into it and take someone on. Whereas I feel like Højbjerg and Skip, they don't have that confidence to even attempt it. They'll usually just turn back and either pass sideways or backwards. That's what they're more interested in doing. And that's what I absolutely love about Papa Matasar. I thought he was absolutely dominating before he went off injured. Obviously, he was very emotional with the injury he did pick up. Thankfully, it seems as though it's not as bad as he had first feared. But he had a brilliant first half an hour. It's just a shame that it was his game was cut short.
Yeah, I completely agree. What's great about Sarr is he's not like blessed with raw pace, but his legs are so long that he can just get a touch round someone and then break the play up and then run the length of the pitch. He is proving to be an incredible signing. His value now, his transfer value would be absolutely huge. I heard someone say it, I'm going to steal it, it's absolutely true. If he was playing at Brighton, Chelsea would be looking to pay £110 million for this player. That's how good he is at his age. And because he's at Spurs and we're signing up to a new contract, he's now going to become a Spurs legend. I'm sure of it. He'll be with us for at least the next 4 or 5 years. And he's only going to get better as he fills out and he gets more muscular and more physical. He's going to be a hard to stop box-to-box midfielder as long as he can stay fit. So I hope he goes out and has a great African Nations Cup. Looks like it's not going to be the injury's not going to stop him from playing there. And then come back fit and healthy for us to go on a really great run in February and beyond.
Absolutely right, and it's great for him to sign off with a goal as well. Next up, Giovanni Lo Celso getting a start in this game. We both gave him 9s. Obviously, got 2 assists at the end of the game. It was the first one was just following up from Bentancur's interception. He made a good tackle, fell to Sarr, and obviously he scored. The second one, a beautiful outside of the boot pass to Heung-min Son for our second goal, which helped wrap up the points or give us a double our lead. I mean, brilliant assist, and I thought in general he was driving us forward, especially in transition. I thought he was a really great creative spark on the ball, but actually off the ball as well, was doing his defensive duties, was really getting stuck in, really getting involved defensively as well. So I thought overall a brilliant central midfield performance from Lo Celso, and hopefully if he can continue this to perform like this, he's got a place in this team.
Completely agree, and he's just got to stay fit. The key thing, he's got to stay fit because he, every so often, you mentioned it earlier, he had a good run under Jose and stuff, and he had a good couple of games earlier this season, a month or so ago, and then he picks up another niggle. It's so important that he stays fit because when he is fit and at his best as he was yesterday, there aren't that many players like him. He's pretty unique. That pass for Son's goal, oh my God. He showed in that one move how different he is to Pierre Højbjerg because Højbjerg would have taken a touch, taken another touch, and the whole thing is gone. And he's got the whole shape of play ahead of him. So much so that it didn't even come perfectly on his left foot. He's had to hit it with the outside of his left foot because it's come almost closer towards his right foot, but he's still got enough on it to put him in perfectly. So easily worthy of a 9 yesterday. A terrific performance, and I just wrap him in cotton wool because he could be so huge for us this season if he can play 20 games. If he can play 20 Premier League games, then he will get assists and he will get goals. He already proved it, like at Man City, a brilliant finish. We get him in the right areas. He's a brilliant technical player. Lionel Messi, he's the player he wants playing with him for Argentina more than anybody else. Enough said.
There we go. Can't argue with the GOAT. Next up, we are talking about Richarlison. We both gave him a 7. I don't think it was his best game. Obviously, it was did carry on his scoring form with a really good first-time finish in the box, proper striker's finish, and it's something that we're hopefully going to be getting used to with Richarlison because he's done it a few times already now this season. Did snatch a really big opportunity near the beginning of the second half. Then he played through by Son, and I thought obviously he just should have been more aware of his surroundings because he could have taken a touch,
Yeah.
could have waited for the ball a bit more, but completely snatched at it, and that could have been costly at the time if Bournemouth would have equalised. Luckily for us, we didn't. I thought there were a couple of good moments as well. I remember there was one moment in the first half he was able to hold the ball off from a Bournemouth centre back and then play Sonny through, and Sonny ended up missing the chance. So there was some good stuff there, but I thought for large parts of the game he was a bit on the periphery.
Yeah, a 7 because he got his goal. But I think most importantly, he's showing that he can bounce back from it. He misses a big chance. He looked devastated, absolutely devastated. And the crowd were like a little bit shocked presumably because for 10 years we're used to those chances being put away, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're right. You're right. He snatched at it a bit. He had more time. He didn't take it. But he didn't let his head drop. And more importantly, he kept making those runs, and Johnson found him with one. And that skill, I've said it before about the goal against Everton, that skill where the ball's coming at a pace across on the floor to sweep it in one motion, it's not as easy as he makes it look. And it shows that he's confident in his finishing at the moment. He didn't get caught offside too many times yesterday as he had done in the previous game. So hopefully he's learning in terms of the timing of his run a bit better. And he got his goal 5 and 5. And I've said it, I put my head on the block. If he stays in the team, he'll get 15 league goals. And if he gets 15 league goals, then Spurs will be there or thereabouts this season.
Well, only 9 more to go, so he's definitely getting there if he carries on this kind of form. Next up, Heung-min Son signing off to the Asia Cup with a goal. I gave him an 8. Barnaby gives him a 7. I thought actually, for a large part of this game, he wasn't at his best. He did have, I think, one chance in the first half where he streams down the left-hand side and he goes for goal instead of looking for Johnson, and it was a poor finish. And then it was a bit of a weird moment. He was not involved in the game for large parts, and then he has another chance where Lo Celso plays him in with an outside the boot pass, and instead of going with his left foot, he tries to cut inside and gets tackled. Yeah. And then it was like something switched that moment, and for the last 20 minutes, he really became alive, and he got pretty much an identical chance like a few minutes later, and this time didn't need to ask him twice, essentially, went with his left foot. We now have clinical ears on both feet, unbelievable finish across the face goal as well, brilliant pass through to Richarlison, which set up his chance as well, which unbelievable move from him, which that was at 1-0 as well. And I thought for the last 20 minutes, he ended the game incredibly strongly. And for me, off the back of him getting goal as well, setting up chance for his teammates, I just ended with an 8.
Yeah. Did I go 7 for
7?
Sonny? Yeah, I just think he's carrying a knock. I really do. I think he's carrying a knock, and it showed in a chance he had early on in the first half on his left foot that I think Son at 100% peak fitness would have taken that either back on his right and bent it in the far corner, or gone earlier with a step over to the right, taking it on his left and put it into the far corner. He was kind of neither one or the other. And as a result, he just kind of hit it at the keeper. And then the chance you talked about as well, he's just like 2-3% off. So what I don't know when South Korea's first game is, but I hope he gets a bit of rest time. I really do. Kind of to see off that knock, and then has good performances out there, because it just shows, even not at 100%, still an elite finisher. That was an unbelievable goal. And the last 20 minutes was good. His confidence was back up after that. But, he is the captain of our club. We're going to miss him. I hope he has a good tournament, but come back and then you get yourself to that 20-25 goal mark in the Premier League. And if you do that, it'll be amazing.
Yeah, and with that goal as well, he did end December with the most goal contributions out of any Premier League player. So just goes to show what I think we didn't need any proving, but it's brilliant for Sonny. Next up, Brennan Johnson, who was starting on the right wing. Both gave him a 7. Brilliant assist for our third goal. That seems to be like a classic Brennan Johnson move at this point, where that cut back first time on the run seems to be really getting better and better at that as the weeks go on. In terms of his overall performance, there was a few times where he was giving the Bournemouth left back a bit of trouble on that right hand side, but unfortunately didn't really do it on too often. I don't think it was his best game, but he did end up with an assist, so I gave him a 7.
Yeah, I gave him a 7 as well. I'm just excited for the future with Brennan Johnson, because I think eventually he will believe that he's one of the main players in this team, and that he will start being more brave on the ball as a result. But he makes good runs. He works really hard. It wasn't his best game, but that was definitely a lovely moment and a great cross. And his teammates clearly believe in him, which I think is really important as well. You can see, Sonny did an interview with him after one of the games recently, said he was sad because he wanted Brennan to score. And he's getting in the right places. He's getting in the right areas and making some good decisions a lot of the time. So he's going to be a great player for Spurs in the long term. He's probably played a few more minutes than Ange would have expected at this stage because of injuries and stuff. but he's already got a lot of goal contributions, and that's credit to him.
Yeah, I believe it's 1 goal and 5 assists now for Brendan Johnson in his start to Spurs life. So not doing too badly, I would say. All right, that is it for our player ratings. Let me know in the comments section below what your player ratings are and if you agree with our ratings.